Welcome to Who Let the Dogs Out, the podcast designed to help you enjoy life with your best friends without all the frustrations. Join us each week as we help families across the country do just that. I'm your host, Corey, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Sally.
How many takes was that today?
I think we're on 4.
Yeah, that was take number 4 of doing that. I don't know. She kept looking at me, making me laugh.
You got the giggles.
Tongue-tied, all the good stuff. Anyways, welcome to the show. Today we've got it's kind of like half dog talk, half Q&A. Dog talk's where we come on and talk about a topic related to dogs, dog training, dog ownership. Q&A is where y'all give us questions, we give you answers. Mm-hmm. But we kind of got like a mix-up episode today because you got a couple questions, I have a topic. So, yeah, you'll be in for some good stuff. We're gonna be
I've got some jokes.
And she's got some jokes.
I've got some jokes. We need to get this energy up. It's early in the morning.
I feel actually pretty good today. Less tired than I did the last podcast.
Good. Good.
And I've got my 30-ounce Mia cup here full of coffee. So
that's all we need. You'll be buzzing by the end.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, with that being said, I don't even really know where to start with this because, that's kind of the topics we are going to have some other formats on the show, like debates and live guests and stuff. We're just working on some other things first. But I guess, how about this? Hit me with a joke. How about, what, before we do that, if you actually think these are funny, can you let us know in the comments or
funny.
I think Spotify lets you like type in a response or something, or go to YouTube and Rumble and tell Sally if she's either got A, good jokes or B, bad jokes, because
these are dad jokes.
Yeah.
Or mom jokes.
No such thing.
We've just created it.
No, we didn't.
Content creators.
No, we didn't. Dad jokes are it. All right, go ahead. Give me a joke.
Okay. What kind of car does a dog drive?
A Wolfmobile?
No. A Ferrari.
Okay, that was stupid.
See?
But it was funny. That was funny. I thought it was funny. Did you think it was funny?
We're having a chuckle.
Right.
That one. Okay. Why do poor dogs chase their tails?
I don't know.
They're just trying to make ends meet. Okay, that's a chuckler.
Okay,
that was good. Chuckler.
That was good.
Okay. What did the therapy dog say to her client?
I don't know.
That's rough.
Okay, that one was not as funny, but the first two actually did make me laugh.
I like that.
That was funny.
Okay.
All right, save the last one. You said you had 4, right?
I do.
Yeah, save the last one.
Okay, we'll save the last one for another time. Made me chuckle.
2 out of the 3 were pretty funny.
They were funny.
Yeah, I have a whole deck of cards in the back that's dog jokes. It's 50 dog jokes.
Do we?
Yeah.
Why are we not using them?
Casey sent it to me a long time ago. Funny enough, that's how actually me and Casey became friends. After Elvis graduated, she sent me like a Christmas card from Elvis saying thank you. And then she sent those with the Christmas card. And then I texted her and said thanks. And then we just kind of hit it off and became buddies after that. But anyways, I have those cards back there.
We need to pick a card.
Yeah.
Pick a card, any card, and do a joke. There we go.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
And like hold out the deck or something.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
There we go.
All right. Well, anyways, if you thought Sally's jokes were funny, can you let us know? If you didn't laugh, can you also let us know?
They were funny.
Yeah. I thought they were a little funny. Okay.
You chuckled at one. And yes.
Enough of that. All right. Well, before we jump into the content of today's show, if you get value out of the show, we'd ask you to share it or subscribe or both. Even both would be even better. I was thinking about this the other day. Sometimes how like when people blow up on the internet, you'll see in their comments, whether on like TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, whatever, you'll see people in the comments like, I've been following you since day one or since 100 followers or whatnot. Y'all have a really good opportunity to join in on the podcast right now before it blows up, because I know we've only been at this for like 12 weeks or, 3 or 4 months, but still we're going to keep doing it. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger. It's, when you're growing content, it's a slow start, but then it, starts to grow exponentially. Anyways, you have an opportunity to be like, I was one of their first 100 subscribers or followers or whatever it is. So anyways, all that being said, if you want to be here from the beginning, subscribe, follow, all that kind of stuff. If you get any value out of today's show, please share it with a friend, family, colleague, somebody that has a dog. Our goal is to help spread the word and give families good training advice at no cost to them. All they have to do is listen. So anyways, with that being said, please share the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got anything on that?
Well, just give us ideas of
because our numbers are going up each week in
Yeah.
terms of listeners and subscribers and stuff. We're gaining
you know.
a little
I
bit,
know we're
a little
coming,
bit each week.
We're coming up with ideas as they just like spring into our brains. But if you've got anything that you want us to cover, just let us know.
Yeah, we didn't actually say that earlier. How do they send in questions if they have questions?
By magic.
Yeah.
No.
Send them to Sally at wonderdogtraining.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they can come to you.
On Instagram.
Corey.
At Corey.
On Instagram.
No, Corey from Wonderdog on Instagram. At Corey from Wonderdog. She gets it wrong every time.
I don't do Instagram.
All right. Well, anyways, I guess with a lot being said, we got to jump in and do a show. So
I think so. Let's do this chat.
Fun intro, though.
Okay. So, again, before I've got one more thing to put to you about Mr. Sully.
Yep.
Okay. This week.
Real quick. Who is Sully for those that are like new listeners?
Okay.
Just a quick brief.
Mr. Sully is my 9-month-old English cream retriever that I received as a surprise at Christmas last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been doing the training. I'm just waving one of the passers-by in our building.
Yeah, we're in front of a big glass pane window right here. I mean, it's huge. It's the entire size of the building. And so if people walk by, they can see us recording. So
that's the first
if we're waving
time
at strangers.
Waved
that's
at us,
well, we
though.
also normally have the black wall up too, but we're filming earlier, so the sun's not up, so it's not glaring and stuff. So this is the first time we've done it without the black wall. So we can actually see people passing by, so they can see us filming. Anyways, all right, enough of that. Sully, English cream, 9 months, got him for Christmas. And,
yes, and
right.
you're doing the training with him, and he's going to become my companion, so he can go places with me, do a few little service things with me being a wheelchair user, but it's not going to be like a full service dog because I've still got things that I'm able to do.
And each week we track his progress on the podcast. We have taken about 6 weeks off training due to my schedule, but we track
really
his
need
progress
to get back to that
every week
little
on the
dude.
podcast. So anyways, what's he doing this week?
Okay, this week is now at a height where counter surfing has been really noticeable this week.
All right.
And things that I thought I'd put up and were safe are now not safe.
Yeah.
So he had hold of air freshener.
Okay.
Not good. Shoes. Who'd have thought me just putting my shoes up on the top of one of my units? No, he's forever got my shoes in his mouth. It drives me crazy. He was climbing up on the piano. Now, he would have got a fright if he'd have made the keys go down, but I look round and every 2 minutes that dog is
up on a surface,
up on something, nosying as to what he can get. Couple of questions. Why has he started that all of a sudden? Is it just because he's got to that height and he knows he's more able to get up there, or is it an age thing? I don't know why all of a sudden we've gone from no interest to obsessed with getting up on everything that he can.
So I do think that as dogs get older, and I'm not going to say mature, but as they get the first couple years or whatnot, particularly really the first, I'd say year actually, when you start, your problems are puppy nipping, pottying, maybe tearing stuff up, chewing on stuff or whatnot that we're, if we're not looking. But as the dog gets older, develops, has more energy, things like that, we do start to see new bad behaviors that we don't like start to develop, jumping on people, or it's cute when they're a puppy, but now it's a problem when they're big, and then pulling on the leash. First they don't want to walk on the leash, they're putting their paws out, and now they do want to walk on the leash, and now they're pulling us, right? Yeah. So problem behaviors do develop over time. In terms of why he just started, I couldn't give you a definite answer, but Lenny has a tendency to counter surf, right? So maybe one day when you cook some salmon, because you like to cook salmon every week, maybe Lenny got on the counter to try to get up there and sniff, and then he saw Sully saw him do it, and so then he copied him. Could be that's how it started, but counter surfing is kind of, if not punished or corrected properly, whichever word you want to use there, it's a self-reinforcing behavior though, because he gets on the counter, he gets food. Well, now he's getting fed, right? So that is exciting for him, right? He gets a shoe. You know, there's maybe, I'm not going to say he knows that he should or shouldn't have it, but maybe he gets it and then he has a lot of fun with the shoe or something like that. And so then he's like, hey, this is fun, right? And that's a positive reinforcement. If you go back to our episode on how dogs learn, how dogs learn can also work against this as well. So if like he gets a shoe or food off the counter, that's adding a positive, right? And that's going to reinforce the likelihood of behavioral happening again. And it doesn't have to be us introducing a stimulus. It could just be like he gets on the counter, eats food, therefore he's going to get on the counter and eat more food, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, all that being said, and then too, there's probably an element to it as well where like, you know, he, you know, knows to listen to you on walks and door manners and things like that, but we hadn't really, and he knows some commands and stuff, but he doesn't have that like generalized in terms of all the stuff that he knows. So another thing too is that like he might think that like even when you're yelling at him, it's fun, you know, and like just like a kid, sometimes negative attention's better than none, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's probably an element to he's getting on the counter and then, you know, you're yelling at him and Sally, you know, and
you know it.
chasing him around on the scooter and he's running away from you, you know, and he's like,
Oh,
this
he
is
does
fun.
run.
Yeah.
If he's got my shoe, he knows that I'm coming to take it off him. And then he's just like...
Yeah, so now you're going from the counter surfing to the leave it game where he's actually making you chase him and stuff. Yeah. And so anyways, you know, just like kids, like negative attention can be better than none, right? And it might not, he might not think it's negative at all. He might just think it's funny, you know, or not funny, but you get the idea.
I think he's more inquisitive as well and exploring things.
Yeah.
So, of course, now he's got these big paws that can get up. Like, what the heck do you need to look on the piano for?
Just because he can.
But he can.
Yeah.
So I
don't know.
Does.
Anyways, all that to be said, yeah, behaviors can definitely develop over time as the dog gets older.
That was my question.
How it started, don't know. It could be saw Lenny do it. Could be that he smelled something and he's like, hey, let me just try it, you know?
Yeah.
But then the more that he does it, the more that he keeps having positive experiences, the more that he's going to do it. So now we have to introduce some sort of negative into the equation to get him to stop. We do need to work on training him off leash. We were actually talking about that before the podcast. Yeah. That'll help out with that a lot.
Yeah.
However, in the meantime, he did mention like he doesn't like loud noises or whatnot, you know? So I would say in the meantime, make like a noisemaker. And when I say that, I mean like put some rocks in a bottle, pennies in a can, something like that. You can shake it to make a loud kind of abrupt noise. Yeah. It'll startle him a little bit. And at that moment that he's startled, you pair the word no or stop or leave it or whatever command you're using for that with getting on the counter. If he's at a distance, you could kind of toss it towards him. That'll really startle him where he's like, oh man, every time I get on the counter now and she's around, I get scared. Now, the downside with you being in the room and him associating that with you is that he'll start to realize like, okay, I just can't do it when she's in the room. So then he'll start doing it when you're not in the room. That's a different problem. I have a different exercise on how to fix that. But we haven't dealt with that just yet.
That's a good starting point.
That's a good start though. Okay. So just make a noisemaker, get a bottle of pet corrector spray out of the back of the, you know, the office or whatnot, and then just use something like that to start working on it in the meantime. Yeah. Anyways, that could work in the meantime to get him started. So
good, because he's driving me crazy.
Yeah, cool. Well, hopefully that'll get better this week, and we need to get back to training him.
We do need to get back to training him because he's a grown man.
Yeah. Okay,
so another question leading off that, nothing to do with Sully.
Yeah.
But somebody asked us a question of, they have a puppy. Didn't say how old puppy was, but this puppy apparently has a toy box full of toys.
Yep.
But still insists on taking her socks, shoes, anything that belongs to her. So again, if your puppy's got so many toys, why do they still want to take other items that don't belong to them?
Yeah. In terms of like socks and shoes, I mean, my main, I guess, answer there would be probably because, one, they're readily accessible and available. So that would be number one. But two, they smell like you, you know, and so like the puppy like wants to, I don't know, carry that around or something, chew on it or something like that. Yeah, and I'd also say they're readily available. So I would say if you want like your socks and shoes to not get chewed up by a puppy, then put them up. You know, like once the dog's a little bit,
your home.
Yeah, once the dog's a little bit older, sure, like keep your shoes out. Mia doesn't chew up my shoes. My shoes are out at my house. But yeah, just put them up to start. In terms of like why though, do they get stuff that they aren't supposed to? I think it's just because one, they can, but then too, we have to train them that like the stuff that we don't want them to get is off limits or whatnot, and until a puppy's old enough to learn like no or leave it or something like that, they're just going to keep getting into stuff. So, making sure that you are showing the puppy their toys is smart. We get this one a lot with like the same kind of question, just a little bit different. Like, hey, my puppy keeps taking my kids' toys or whatnot. And I'm like, well, kids' toys and puppy toys look very similar, at a certain age. They look almost identical. And the only people that know that it's the difference between a puppy toy and a kid toy is the humans. Puppies do not know.
They don't know.
This little plush toy is puppy toy. This plush toy is human toy, right? They don't know that. So, anyways, we've got to, just show the puppy what they're doing. And I'd say too, if you got a puppy, like stay on top of them. Like a puppy, generally speaking, like should not just be roaming the house without you being around, right? Like we should keep the puppy in the same room as us. I'm not saying you have to tether him to you, but generally speaking, keep him in the same room as you. Normally, I mean, a puppy going into another room and being too quiet is like a toddler going into the room.
I've learned that the hard way.
Is like a toddler going into the room and being too quiet, right? Like they're probably getting into something they shouldn't be getting into, right? So, anyways, I would say that would be why though. They just get it because they can.
Because it's available.
It smells like you. They want to. They bite on it, and it's like, hey, this is kind of fun to bite on. Whatever it may be. So one, just keep showing the puppy where its toys are. Keep the puppy in the same room as you. Get stuff out of reach that shouldn't be in reach and stuff like that, right? You want to touch on the dog walking thing before we do the next question?
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
We wanted to talk about like dog walking and like picking a dog walker and a dog service and stuff because we are like beta testing a dog walking service here in the Memphis location right now. And it's going pretty good. All the feedback that we've gotten from it has been awesome and the people are loving it and stuff like that. But our dog walking service, and if it, and it's going well here, so we're probably going to roll it out to the rest of our locations too, as just another way to like help clients get their dog's energy out and exercise their dogs and things like that. But anyways, I guess with all that being said, our dog walking service, we've got a dog walker. We're training her on the basics of like walking dogs and door manners and just some like basic stuff. She's not a dog trainer, but I'd say knows more about dogs and dog training than like your average just dog walker that just is on Rover or whatever app it is or whatnot. Anyways, all that being said, she knows some stuff about, like I said, walking dogs and loose leashing and heeling and door manners and just general manners and stuff like that, right? And so I think if you have the option to pick a dog walker that's got some experience, like maybe you should pick one that's got a little bit of experience with training or something like that. Maybe a little bit more than just somebody that's just got extra time on their hands or whatnot. Not saying that's a bad option. Like if that's your only option, then sure, run with it. Absolutely. But if you got the option to pick between the two, maybe you should pick one that's got a little bit of training. And if your dog's trained, can maybe maintain what your dog's learned a little bit as well. I mean, the main kind of benefit in our eyes of getting your dog walked is really just like getting the energy out. Like, it'll also help too if like, let's say you're gone for 8 or 9 hours for work or something like that, rather than just leaving your dog in the house or, in the crate or something like that. If you can have somebody come out and walk them like midday, that'll help one, get their energy out, give them a potty break, things like that. But it'll also probably make life a little bit easier whenever you get home from work because, your dog's not going to be on, full crazy mode by the time that you finally get home and let the dog out and then you walk the dog and stuff. So, I think that's like the main benefit though of walking the dog is just getting the energy out, giving their brain something to do, letting them get a physical workout in. Like I said too, if we're, doing any sort of like training on the walk, then your dog's also getting to keep up on their training and stuff like that too. So, anyways, that's that. And then just in terms of walking, like generally speaking, I think whether you're having a dog walker walk your dog or you're walking your dog, I think consistency on walks is pretty important. So a couple of notes that I made was like the big rule that you should be following all the time, whether you're loose leashing or you're heeling, is really just like no pulling and no tension on the leash, right? So whether you're loose leashing or you're heeling, we don't want the leash to be taut. Like we want to have some slack on the leash. And so that way we can walk the dog and enjoy the dog. And the dog's not pulling us from mailbox to mailbox and sniffing and stuff. It's not bad that your dog sniffs on walks, but we don't want them pulling us to go sniff, right? Because if a dog's pulling on a walk, that's going to make the walk unenjoyable for me, the human. It'll be enjoyable for the dog, but it's not going to be enjoyable for me, the human, and I think it should be a mutually beneficial activity. Like it should be good for the human to take the dog on a walk, after a long day at work. Taking the dog on a walk should be like a nice stress-free activity.
Relaxing. Yeah, absolutely.
Where the dog gets to walk and sniff and pee and poop and be a dog, right? But then also I get out and, get to unplug from the phone and walk the dog and all that kind of stuff, right? The next one is, in terms of consistency, is, this isn't a hard and fast rule. If you want to loose leash your dog the whole time, you can, but I generally speaking suggest doing like 80-20 on walk. So like 80% of the walk at heel, 20% loose leash. So 80% of the walk, let's say you walk a mile, 8/10 of it should be walking at heel. So where the dog is in your bubble, walking right next to you, right? The other 20% should be letting your dog sniff, pee, poop, be a dog and things like that. And the reason we suggest that though, is because if your dog is walking at heel, they're getting the same amount they'd get roughly the same amount of steps in if they were loose leash and crazy and all over the place versus heel. They're going to get roughly the same amount of steps in. But whenever your dog's at heel, now your dog has to think about where to walk, right? So now it's a physical exercise, but it's also a brain exercise too, because now the dog's got to think about where to walk and where to be in the bubble, right? Because they're walking right next to me in the heel position, and so that can not only get your dog physically tired, but it can also get your dog a little bit more mentally worn out too, which is a really big benefit.
I don't think people realize that dogs are working really hard when they're in that heel.
Yeah.
I think for us as humans, you just think, the dog's walking by the side of me, but now you've explained.
Yeah, because they have to think about where to be.
Because they have to think about it,
and they also would much rather probably be out sniffing every mailbox and every ground spot on the ground that has a smell.
How many people would you see in a day going out on a walk and the dog is just like either all over the place, or you see somebody just, being pulled about? It's
a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I do in my neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so anyways, all that being said, your dog, especially if they want to be running and gunning and smelling everything, walking at heel is a hard task to do. And so they have to practice self-control and discipline and stuff like that. Anyways, overall, it's just a great thing. And like I said, on top of getting your dog physically worn out, it can also help your dog get mentally worn out, which can help you see a drastic reduction in the bad behaviors and stuff. And then the next one is just like pausing at street corners and door manners and stuff like that. So before you go out the door and even start the walk, we should be making the dog sit and stay at the door. We want to practice that rule and manner anytime we're going out an exterior door that leads to like the non-fenced world, right? So backyard, if you don't want to do door manners, don't. But the front yard or front door, garage door, side door, whatever door leads to the outside world with no fence, like you should make your dog wait and have a password to cross the door line, right?
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because we don't want the dog bolting out, right? We want to continually build up that barrier where the dog learns, hey, if I go out this door, I have to wait till I hear X word, like normally free or okay or go or release or something like that until I go through this door, right? And it's the same thing at street manners. This one's, I guess, a bit more optional, but on walks, we definitely want to try to make the dog like walk and like sit and stay at the street manner, at the street corners until we give the dog the same password, because we want to teach the dog too, like, hey, if you're ever off leash, like, if, I don't know, let's say the dog ever does get out, we want to have have them have some sort of in their mind, like, hey, I don't cross the curb until I'm told to cross the curb, right? And that's just another like safety thing that we can kind of build up. And the more that we do it, the more we practice it, the more that your dog will, take a second thought if they are about to cross the street without permission or something like that, right? And so this is just some of the things that we practice consistency on walks. If you're walking your own dog, you don't have a dog walker, whatever it is, if you can practice these same things on your own, but this is what we're asking our dog walker to do with our clients' dogs. And then the last thing I was just going to say is like, what do we do? Let's say you hire us for a dog walk, and like, what do we do when it's too hot? Like, we have a handful of different things, but the gist is like, one, we could take your dog on an outing. So whether it be going to like Lowe's or Home Depot or a local pet food store or something like that, we can take your dog out walking in some manner like that, where we're out somewhere in the AC, ground's cool, things like that, and get your dog out and still get the walk done. The second one would be like a flirt pole or something like that, like in the backyard on the grass, playing fetch, something like that. Some sort of physical activity that's still going to get your dog worn out and get your dog tired, but we're not going to let them get like overheated or on the be on the concrete too long or stuff like that. And the other one's just like mental games. So like bringing out like games and toys and stuff like that challenge them mentally, that can still protect them from the heat, if it's too hot for them and stuff. So overall, we got a lot of stuff up our sleeve. So, and those are a couple of different things that you can do with your dog if it gets too hot, or our dog walker will do with your dog if you hire us to do dog walking and stuff like that. So, anyways, if y'all are interested in dog walking, you're in the Memphis area. If we've rolled out the other locations at this, by the time you're listening, you can check in on that. But if you're interested, you can just go to wonderdogtraining.com and figure out all the details there. It'll be somewhere around there. That's pretty much all I have on dog walking. You got anything on that for now?
And I think, sometimes in our lives, time is an issue, like you've already mentioned. So if you're at work all day, we can take your dog out. But also, if you have any mobility issues, you can't walk very far, or you struggle with the heat, and just need someone, to help you out, take some responsibility off your shoulders. Yeah. Use that service as well.
Yeah. I didn't really think about it from that point of view. I'm glad you mentioned that. Another one too would just be like time. We tell people like, what are the keys to like a trained dog? Like it's, the three things we ask people to do daily is like one, practice with your dog 20 minutes a day, training wise on some command. Second is exercise your dog every day. Third is give their brain something to do every day. And if you do just those basic things, like you'll see a very different dog in a very short time. But a lot of our clients too, they get off work and then they've got families with kids and got to make dinner and do chores and yada, yada, whatever. If you don't have time, this can also be where like the dog isn't, getting, not exercise or something like that, and we can still do it for you. So that's another option too. Like if you don't have the time, but you still want your dog to get exercise and get mentally stimulated and stuff, you can call us and we can kind of take that load off you where you don't have to do it every single day. Right. Anyways, that's it. That's all I got for now.
Yeah.
On dog walking.
I think it's a great service.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways,
like you were saying earlier, the feedback that we've had so far, really positive.
Yep. That's a lot of fun. Anyways, with that being said, if y'all are interested in that, you can check out wonderdogtraining.com. Even if you're not going to hire us for dog walking, or, whatever, thing we end up doing with your dog, depending on the weather and stuff. These are some stuff that you can start applying with your dog. Right. Yeah, so absolutely. Anyways, that being said, sounds like you got one more question and then we'll wrap up.
Just one more question. So, the question is, a dog gets on her bed every night because it's allowed to sleep on the bed. Mine are too. But her dog starts digging at the comforter until either she's saying lay down and settle, or it like self-settles and lays down.
Right.
And she just wants to know, why does the dog do that? Why are they like just digging up on the comforter?
Yeah, that's funny. I've seen, Mia's done that a handful of times too, or like sometimes I'll come home and she's like made like a little like nest on the bed or whatnot, where she's like dug up the whole, cause I make the bed every morning and she'll like dig up the whole entire comforter, make it into like a circle and like lay in the center of it and stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty cute. Anyways, in terms of like why, I imagine it has to go probably something back to like their like ancestor genes or something like that, where they had to like, dig and like make like maybe a little hole in the ground to like lay down in or something. I'd say for the modern dog though, it's probably just like trying to get comfortable or whatnot, like trying to like make it just the absolute perfect spot to lay down in, and it's funny too, because I've seen dogs do the same thing on like flat surfaces where there's like nothing to like, they're digging on the couch, or whatnot to like make it the perfect spot to lay. And there's no blanket there, it's just the couch cushion or whatnot. So I imagine it probably has to do something with comfort, paired with maybe some sort of like ancestral like gene saying like,
so nothing to worry about.
Yeah, it's like not concerned. It can be a little annoying if you're trying to go to sleep in the dog.
I think it's more annoying than anything, isn't it? If you're trying to get settled in bed as well.
Yeah, just tell the dog like no and lay down or something like that, and maybe try to speed up the process or something like that. But overall, it's overall to me, it's more of just like a funny behavior. It's just like, all right, thank you, appreciate it.
It's like, this is my quilt, I'm gonna make it snuggly.
Pretty much, yeah. But I don't really have much more on that other than that. Like I said, it's probably more for comfort for the modern dog paired with their ancestor genes, where they used to be wolves and were out in the wild and making their own beds and caves and out of leaves and stuff like that. Yeah. Cool. That's probably it.
There we go. That's all I've got for you.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess that's it for this week. In terms of, once again, if you want to send in a question to the show, you can write into Sally at wonderdogtraining.com and you can send her a question there. Yep. Next, I was just going to say, if y'all do need help with dog training or you're here in Memphis and you want to try out the dog walking, you can go to wonderdogtraining.com. And that would be for training at any of our locations, and you can see where we're located at. Wonderdogtraining.com, fill out the form. It'll put you a hold of somebody in the office, and we'll see if we can get you set up with an in-home evaluation. If y'all want help with training and you're not in the service area, but you still want Wonder Dogs help, you can do that too. You can go to trainmywonderdog.com and check out our online program. It's all the same training we would do if we were right there in your home, except it's done on your own screen. It's done at your own pace. So we've got all that stuff. I guess with that being said, once again, if y'all got any value out of the show, Sally's jokes made you laugh, whatever it is, feel free to share the show with a friend, family, colleague, somebody like that has a dog. Our goal here, once again, is just to spread the message and, just help families with their dogs and give out quality dog training information at no cost. And then lastly is just subscribe to the show. Like I said, we're trying to build the show up, build the audience of the show, just so that way we can, like I said, keep helping families, all that kind of stuff, following, liking, sharing the show, all that kind of stuff, boost it up in the algorithm. So with that being said, if you do like the show, if you could subscribe, follow, like whatever it is on whatever platform you're on, please do that. That would be amazing. We'd really appreciate it. And I think that's pretty much all I got for today.
Till next time.
All right, guys, we'll see y'all later. Bye. Have a great week. Go train your dogs, have some fun, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
Bye.